Hello class 10, welcome to history lecture. Today we will do our next topic, that is the journal or periodical Gramabarta Prakashika. So in this chapter already we have seen how newspapers and journals have played an important role in developing or growing a sense of nationalism among the people of India. And today we will do the Gramabarta Prakashika, and this was another newspaper which we see helped in development of national feeling among the Indian people. So first we'll see that it was published in 1863 from Kushtia. From Kushtia 1863 it was published, and the editor was Harinath Majumdar. And one important information that we must remember is that initially when this Prakashika or this periodical started, then it was funded by Sharno Kumari Devi. So you must remember that initially Harinath Majumdar could not fund it. Initially it was Sharno Kumari Devi who funded it. And afterward, after few more years, we see it was Kangal Harinath Majumdar who himself founded his own press from where the Gramabarta Prakashika was issued. So what we see is that this newspaper, the Gramabarta Prakashika, played a very important role in spreading education among the Indian people. So the main principal focus area of the Gramabarta Prakashika was to spread of education. Spread of education was one of the most important focus area of the Gramabarta Prakashika, and was one of the main goal of this periodical, and that is they wanted to spread education among the people of India, and among not only among women but also among the entire masses of India. They wanted to spread education. Also they spoke for emancipation and upliftment and education of women. So what we see is that their main goal was spread of education, and also the spread of education and upliftment of the women section of the society. Apart from these, we see they brought to the fore the miserable condition of the village people. Miserable condition of village people was brought to the fore by this newspaper. And they also put forward the atrocities of the colonial rule, the ruthless policy that the colonial rulers are following, and the torture that the colonial rulers are doing over the villagers and over the masses of India, that they also put forward. So they also raised their voice against the colonial exploitation. Colonial exploitation on the Indian people and colonial exploitation on the villagers, these things also they put forward to the Indian people, and from these newspapers articles it came to be known to the people of India how the colonial exploitation is affecting different people of India. So we see that they also raised their voice against colonialism, and thus we can see that this newspaper has a national outlook as well. Not only they are spreading education, but they also put forward the colonial exploitation over the Indian people, and they also put forward the economic condition, the economic ruination of India, how Indian economy has ruined or declined under the colonial rule. That was also presented through their articles in the Gramabarta Prakashika. And here we see that main articles, what were the articles about education? We see that they presented or published articles on literature, philosophy, science, history. These type of articles were published in their newspaper, through which Indian people can gain knowledge. And also we must mention and remember that eminent Bengali scholars used to give their articles for this newspaper, like Rabindranath Tagore. For example, Rabindranath Tagore had also given his own article for the Gramabarta Prakashika. So we see that these articles on literature, history, philosophy, science, these articles which were published in this newspaper, it helped in spreading of knowledge among the Indian people. But also we see that they also they had a national outlook, because they also had articles on political issues and economic conditions of India. These were also the part of this newspaper. So we see that apart from education, they also presented the miserable condition of the villages, and they also put forward the colonial exploitation over the Indian people. So these are the main goal and the main aims of the Gramabarta Prakashika, which was published by Kangal Horinath Mojumdar. Another field where the Gramabarta Prakashika focused was the indigo cultivators' torture, because Horinath Mojumdar himself used to work with the indigo workers. He was on the board of the indigo workers, so he had the knowledge about the torture that the indigo workers did over the indigo cultivators. And in this situation, as he had the knowledge about this torture, he published articles about the torture that the indigo workers did over the indigo planters, and how they forced the Indian indigo cultivators to grow indigo on their land. So we also get a prime picture of the indigo cultivators torture from this newspaper. So these newspapers' main principles were, we see it had a national outlook. It presented the miserable condition of the village people. Apart from that, it also raised voice against colonial exploitation and the economic ruination of India under the colonial rule. And we also get an idea and picture about the torture on the indigo cultivators. So these were the main goals and main focus area of the Gramabarta Prakashika, published by Horinath Mojumdar in 1863 from Kushtia. Thank you.